Welcome to another tutorial video on the BlueSeer software application. We recently released version 6.8 of BlueSeer this past April, and one of the new features in this new release is job scanning, generic job scanning, as a matter of fact. There's actually two types of job scanning. There's generic job scanning, and then there's the traditional inventory operational scanning, where you scan it to perform an operation and you have a physical count of quantities that you put into inventory. What we're going to talk about in this tutorial here, though, is the generic scanning for ad hoc jobs, as mostly relevant to job shops, CNC shops, screw machine shops, that have non-repetitive tasks that they have to do, and they want to try to track the operator usage, the operator time, in the form of scanning in and scanning out. So yes, what we're going to do is look at generic job scanning. And there are four menus that have been added to the version 6.8. They're under the job scanning menu. There's a job operation scanning, where you actually physically scan in, scan out per job ticket. There's the job operation browse, which allows you to see the operations themselves, the tickets, and the operations of the tickets, and then the scanning events against the job operation ticket. Job service order maintenance allows you to print out these tickets, allows you to add materials to it, consumable materials or non-consumable materials, and some other miscellaneous things. And then the last thing is the job clock maintenance, which allows you to adjust the clock entries that the operators do. Okay, so one of the first things required for generic job scanning is a service order. Service order maintenance required. Okay, so you have to start off with a service order, and what this does is this is your actual order to your customer. We'll walk through that order creation. So order, service order, maintenance. These job tickets run off of a service order, so they are required. So in this scenario, you're just basically creating a job order for your customer. This Acme customer is part of the default download when you install the application. And we're just going to create a simple service order. This customer is requesting us to refurbish a panel, drill and tap new holes, something like that. We're going to do one, and we're going to charge $500 for this operation. So this is just a fictitious type of service order that you might get from your customer. Add the line item, there's your total, and then these three fields here have been added to the service order maintenance to show how the project job types, the job tickets themselves, are related to the service order. So when you click add, it's going to automatically create the order for you, but it's also going to create this number here, which is a job ticket number for it. So for every service order you create, you will have a job ticket created, whether you use that ticket or not. This project type is, if it's generic, which is typically what you're going to be doing, it won't create any operations of the job ticket. You have to create those yourself. But you use this in case you do not know what the operations are at the time you create the service order. You can create operations based on the line. So if I had line 1, line 2, line 3, each one of these lines will become an operation. Or you can choose a routing that's in the routing master, and I'll cover that later. This default is actually in the routing master. But for now, let's just go with the generic. And to get to this job ticket, you can either type in, or you can actually click to inventory, job scanning, job service order maintenance, or you can click this little icon here, which will take you to that with this actual number. So this is the job maintenance project service order. And in here, you can actually print the ticket directly as soon as you reach this menu. But there's no operations at all. And before you can actually scan against it, you got to have at least one operation. So you do have to create an operation. This here is your job service ticket number that they would be scanning against for in and for out. But so let's create a fictitious operation. So let's click the plus sign. My first operation. And then that'll create an operation for you. You'll notice I haven't chosen the operation that I just created. So if I click this print button again, it's still the job service ticket, the overall job service ticket. However, if I choose a specific operation, then and click print, you'll actually get the specific operation ticket for that operation. Now, all the information on this ticket is relative to an operation ticket. When you scan in and scan out, it'll be relative to the operation, to a operation within the service ticket itself. Okay, so right now you have operation description and notes. And this is something you would scan, or you would print this out, provide this to the operator, and the operator could scan this ticket number. Now, we haven't defined an operator for this ticket number, so any operator can scan in against this operational ticket, but they're going to have to also scan not only the ticket, but they'll have to scan an ID card that has their number, and I'll show you that as an example. So let's assume we didn't assign an operator to it and wanted anybody to be able to scan against it. So we'd go over to, here's our job number, 10251. And this is where you scan in and scan out. You can also get to this menu from inventory, job scanning, job operational scan. So I'm going to simulate the actual scanning of the barcode we just looked at, 10251. And it'll tab. The tab away from it, every scanner should tab once the value has been captured, and it'll move on to the next screen. The fact that I don't have an operator means I can put in any operator ID. These are user IDs that are in the employee master, and I'll show you where those are as well. So I do have some fictitious employees. I'm going to put in one of their, I'm going to simulate scanning that employee ID card, and the clock in is success. So it clocked in Glenn Fry at this job number, and he's now clocked in for that operation. I'm going to clock in one more, 100251. So I just scanned the job ticket, I just scanned the employee ID, and the clock in is success. That's it. So now it's capturing these two clock in IDs. Now I have to clock in and clock out against this job ID. Now let's say, for example, that this is where you have to scan the ticket and the employee ID card. Let's go back to the job service ticket, and let's assign an operator to operation 1. So once I do this, pick Randy Meisner here. Once I do that and I click save, this operational ticket will only receive in Randy Meisner's employee ID number. So let's go back to the scan. And if I scan 102, if I just scan the job ticket itself, it'll automatically clock in Randy Meisner. You do not have to clock in the scan. So the job ticket can be one of two ways. It can be specific operator defined, or it can be for generic operators, for multiple operators. So let's look at our ticket again. So when you actually pick a specific operator, then it'll show up on the operator ticket, and only this Randy Meisner can clock in with this scan card. He will not have to scan his employee ID, but he will be the only one that can. So we're going to take him off of there for now. And go back to here, click save. And there should be no operator defined. There isn't. Okay. So now we've got a couple operators scanned in. Again, the objective for all this is to capture the amount of time it takes to do a specific operation of a specific job service ticket. Okay, so let's scan these guys. Oh, before we go that far, and before you print it out, let's assume that you wanted to provide some notes to your operator before you printed out the ticket, and maybe some material that you wanted them to use, or a tooling that you wanted them to use. So you can, before you print out the ticket, you can go to notes, and the notes are per operation. I am adding these notes, read very carefully, blah, blah, blah. Update notes, and if you come back and you print out the ticket, you will see that those show up on the notes. You can also add material. Now right now I don't have any material in here, so I'm going to create some dummy material and a dummy tooling item just to show what it will produce. So go to item menu, item maintenance, click new, let's call it raw material. Class is P, this is raw material, and a selling purchase price of $1. Add, and then at the same time I'm going to create a tooling, drill bit 1/4 inch, and this is again purchase, but it's also tooling is a subset type, and then let's call this $2 and click add. Now, depending on whether it's tooling or raw material, it'll show up in one of the job tickets. So let's go back to the inventory, job setting, job service order maintenance, pull up the job number again, and I'm going to add that material. So there's the material, it's raw material. I'm going to add a quantity of 1. So an operation must be selected, so it must be assigned to an operation. So let's select an operation, which is the only one we have. 1 cost of $1, click add, and now that should show up in the print. So here's the material to be consumed, to be used at that first operation. Now note, this consumable basically indicates that I have set it to true, that this material will be consumed. It will not be used again for another operation. So you're going to be charged as a cost for this operation. So when you finally commit this job ticket as a complete entity, then it'll consume this material and even relieve that material from inventory. Okay, I'm going to add a tooling, and this is the only tooling that we have here. I'm going to add one of them at $2, add, and they're both consumable as well. And again, it'll show up on the operation. Now I can add another operation. Click operation 2, my second operation, click OK. And then when you look at the overall job service ticket, you see both operations, but you can actually print a job ticket for a specific operation, operation 1 and operation 2. And you can assign individuals to these operations as well, notes and material to be used. All right, so far our total cost for this is just the material. So let's clock these guys out again. Clock out, they scan the job ticket, 100. So Glenn is just scanned out. Let's do the other ones. 251-1, 101. Again, they will be scanning these. They won't have to key it in. I'm having to simulate keying it in. And then the last one was Meisner, 100-251-1, 002. Okay, all 3 have scanned out. So once they've actually done the work, you can go back to, this is the browse, by the way. You can actually see all the job tickets, and this is a hierarchical view. This is just the job ID, and there's children records of this. So if I looked at the detail, I have 2 operations, hide detail. If I looked at the scanning operations against it, there's been 3 scan events against that for Glenn, Don, and Randy. So I'm going to close these again, and I'm going to go back to the ticket. And then I'm going to assume that I'm actually done with all the work. So the total labor is here, the total material cost is here, there's your total cost. You can see the time clock records here as well, again, instead of also in the browse. Charts, there are several charts here. You can break out the material cost versus the labor cost of this entire job ticket. Material being $3 and labor cost being $4.23. And this is all a simulation. You can look at total hours by operator. So for that operator, for those 3 scan events, these are the 3. This is the breakdown of the operational time it took for these 3 operators to operate on operation 1 of the service job ticket. And then you can look at total operational cost as well. And we've only got cost on operation 1, which is why this is all red. Okay, so let's assume that we've completed the project, we're done, we're ready to invoice the customer for this. All you have to do is click commit. Be absolutely sure that you are committing this, because this will not only relieve inventory for the materials you consumed here, for the tooling, if it's consumable, but it'll also invoice the customer. So click yes. And so now you should have an invoice. So if we go to finance, accounts receivable, invoice browse, click run, we now have an invoice for $500, and you can print that out as well. Okay, last, let's go back to the job scanning menu. Let's go back to job operational browse. Again, this is a hierarchical view for the browse. So again, the major reason for doing the job scanning is to capture the time that's used by the operators, so that you can get a better feel for what your quotes are going to be like, and your operational cost that you've got involved in those quotes to provide an order to your customer, or to satisfy an order from your customer. If you look at if you unclick the hierarchical view, you'll notice that the chart button shows up. So if you click run, These are all the actual events, except for Operation 2. We didn't do anything against that. But for the first operation, we had 3 scanning events. You can look at the chart here as well, and it'll also show your hours by operator. More importantly, if you have multiple job IDs and you have multiple service, and you've done this same job for like 4 or 5 different service orders, then you'll get more entries in here, and you'll be able to have sort of a cumulative number of hours that it takes, and you'll get an average number of hours. For example, the total hours is 0.24, but if I just looked at Operation 1 against a bunch of job tickets that have the same Operation 1, you click run, then you can actually get a number of average hours associated with this. So it'll give you a better feel for what are the outliers of who's doing what job. This it took 0.08, 0.08, and 0.08. That's simply because I clocked in and clocked out for all 3 of these operators at the same time. But you'll get more information here as you develop more job IDs, more services. And this tool will become a lot more useful to be able to figure out what your operational costs are from a labor point of view. So you can actually print all this out. You can send it to a CSV file here, and you can actually pull it in Excel and do what you will with it. You can also sort by operator. You can sort by the operations, and you can sort by from date and to date. But this will allow you to capture your labor time and therefore your labor cost for the service jobs that you're doing. So I hope that helps. Again, this is version 6.8. Actually, you'll need to be on 6.8.4 because I've had a couple of patches that I've had to throw in there. Look for 6.8.5 to come out relatively soon. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to BlueSeer.com. There's a contacts page there. There's also a contacts page on the help about, I think it's in the about, yeah, the contact information is here as well. So if you do have any questions, or more importantly, if you find any bugs, please report those to support@BlueSeer.com. All right, thank you.